Having opposing views doesn't necessarily have to lead to negative outcomes. If approached with due respect and tact, it can serve as a catalyst for personal growth and the strengthening of mutual understanding between parties. Our approach to conflict situations, how we react to disagreements, reflects our emotional maturity and communication skills. True elegance is manifested in the ability to remain calm and respectful to the opponent, even when emotions are running high. Striving to improve one's manner of communication, it is important to remember that communication is a continuous process of learning and self-improvement. It is not about achieving some ideal, but about a constant willingness to grow, adapt, and learn from every interaction. Each conversation, each meeting, is a chance to hone one's skills in effective and sincere communication. As we become more conscious in our choice of words and expressions, we begin to understand the immense power our words possess. This power should be used with great responsibility, as what we say can have a profound impact on other people. Refined communication is not something that comes easily and quickly, but rather the result of constant work on oneself and a sincere attitude towards others. The art of communication is not just a set of techniques, but a deep reflection of a person's inner world, their values, and their attitude towards others. Disagreements and clashes of opinions do not necessarily have to lead to the breakdown of relationships. On the contrary, with the right approach, they can become a powerful stimulus for personal growth and the deepening of mutual understanding between parties. The key to constructive dialogue lies in respect and tact, which allow one to overcome disagreements and find common ground. How we react to conflict situations is a mirror of our emotional maturity and communication skills. True mastery is manifested in the ability to remain calm and respectful to the opponent, even when emotions reach their peak. This requires not only self-control, but also a deep understanding of the motives and feelings of the other side. Improving one's manner of communication is a continuous process of learning and self-improvement. It is not about achieving some abstract ideal, but about a constant willingness to grow, adapt, and learn from every interaction. Each conversation, each meeting is an opportunity to hone one's skills in effective and sincere communication. As we become more conscious in our choice of words and expressions, we begin to understand the immense power our words possess. This power should be used with great responsibility, as what we say can have a profound impact on other people. Refined communication is not something that comes easily and quickly, but rather the result of constant work on oneself and a sincere attitude towards others. It requires not only knowledge of etiquette and rhetoric, but also the ability to listen, empathize, and express one's thoughts clearly and convincingly. There is something truly special in how we communicate. The words we choose, the tone with which we say them, and even how our voice conveys the emotions we want to share, have the power to leave a deep mark on others. Elegance and refinement in speech lie not only in choosing exquisite words or perfect intonation. It is, first of all, a reflection of how we see ourselves and how we relate to the world around us. When we strive to speak more exquisitely, we are actually striving to express the best in ourselves, and this undoubtedly reflects on how others perceive us. It is a journey to self-discovery and improvement, which opens up new horizons in communication and allows us to build deeper and more meaningful relationships with those around us. So, what does the art of elegant speech imply? Genuine elegance goes beyond simply observing etiquette or following generally accepted norms, being, in essence, the ability to convey respect both for one's own personality and for others. It is not an aspiration to appear someone unnatural or unapproachable, but on the contrary, a manifestation of authenticity. the ability to demonstrate oneself as real, while realizing what influence our words and actions have on others. A person who possesses refined speech strives not to make a fleeting impression, but to establish a deep and sincere connection. To speak with elegance means to open a window into one's soul. Not only is the content of the information being conveyed important, but also the manner in which it is presented. Every sound uttered, every pause, the slightest change in intonation is capable of revealing much more than we intend to communicate. And this is the magic of refined communication. It is not just about conveying information, but about creating a special space for emotional connection, where words become an extension of our inner self. Being elegant in speech implies having an open mind and heart, a willingness to listen attentively before speaking. True refined expression is born when we are able to understand the person we are talking to, acknowledge their feelings, and respond in a way that aligns not only with our thoughts, but also with our emotions. It is a delicate balance between the rational and the emotional, requiring a certain humility, a willingness to learn, and constant adaptation to the situation. Every word we utter has the potential to open or close doors, to bring us closer to other people, or to distance us from them. Language is a bridge connecting inner worlds, our personal experiences, and the experiences of those who listen to us. In the moment of conversation, we offer a piece of ourselves, a part of our being that we often do not even suspect we are sharing with those around us. True elegance of speech is not simply a demonstration of an extensive vocabulary or impeccable grammar. It is the art of consciously choosing words, where each one resonates with the speaker's deep convictions and inner world. Elegance is, first and foremost, a lifestyle, an ability to interact with the world from a position of respect, crystal clarity, and sincere love for oneself. This style of communication does not arise instantly as a result of memorized techniques or ingenious tricks. It is refined over years, enriched by life experience, thoughtful observation, and constant practice. Our speech is a mirror reflecting our attitude towards language, towards the world of ideas, and most importantly, towards ourselves. Refined speech is the fruit of a trained mind, capable of considering each word before uttering it aloud, weighing its meaning, and understanding that words are not just tools of communication, but powerful acts of creation that shape our reality. Every word we speak contributes to the creation of the world around us, and this is a huge responsibility that cannot be ignored. The manner of expressing oneself can be a reflection of inner wisdom, of the peace that we cultivate in our soul, of our ability to be aware of and appreciate every moment of the present. The art of elegant speech lies not in striving to impress listeners with an abundance of complex terms or ornate phrases. Genuine elegance manifests itself in the simplicity and clarity of expressing thought. It is an act of sincerity when words accurately match what we want to say, without unnecessary embellishments or verbal fluff. Often, verbosity becomes the worst enemy of clarity, and clarity, in turn, is one of the key elements of elegance in speech. To possess exquisite speech is an art that requires the ability to be silent in time, to pause, allowing silence to speak for itself. At times, silence becomes the most expressive way to convey a thought, providing an opportunity for reflection, detachment, and imbuing words with weight and significance. In silence, the message gains depth, meaning, and resonance. The grace of speech lies not in a continuous stream of words, but in the ability to choose the moment and give each word meaning. When we meet a person with refined speech, we feel something special that goes beyond the words they utter. Elegance of speech is not just a command of language, but an expression of the speaker's inner energy. Words are just a shell, and the true impact is made by the energy, the vibration, the feeling with which they are spoken. If speech is filled with conviction and deep truth, the listener will perceive this truth, regardless of the literal content. Elegance of speech in this context is a manifestation of authenticity. To speak elegantly does not mean hiding one's essence or creating an idealized version of oneself. On the contrary, it means being able to express oneself most sincerely and truthfully, to show one's feelings with respect for oneself and others, not being afraid to show vulnerability, but striving to build a respectful and enriching dialogue. Language used with elegance has a healing, transformative, and inspiring power. Words are capable of building bridges between people, giving comfort, creating understanding, and enriching relationships. However, for words to gain this power, it is necessary to learn to listen to oneself. True elegance of speech begins with attentive listening and a desire to understand others. To speak elegantly is not only a matter of technique, but also of inner attitude, the result of an open mind and heart, ready for a sincere connection with others. Only by being prepared to listen deeply can we speak in a way that our words reach their goal. Attentive listening, without interruptions and rushing to answer, is the key to refined communication. To master the art of elegant speech, it is necessary to pay attention not only to the selection of words, but also to one's posture, the overall impression we make, body language, as well as the manner of moving and holding oneself during conversation. A straight posture, with shoulders straightened and a relaxed appearance, exudes confidence, calmness, and self-control, which, of course, is reflected in our speech. Elegance in conversation is thus closely linked to the energy we transmit. A person speaking with grace expresses themselves not only through words, but also through their posture, gaze, and interaction with the surrounding space. Our self-presentation has a significant impact on how others perceive us. Every gesture, every word, every movement matters, and awareness of this allows us to control the communication process. Each spoken word is like a seed we plant in the world. This seed can sprout in various ways, depending on how we sowed it and what soil it fell into. Our words possess immense power, capable of profoundly affecting others, both positively and negatively. It's not enough to simply pronounce words correctly. True mastery lies in knowing when, how, and with what intention to utter them. Often, the impact of our words is determined not so much by what we say as by how we say it. Tone, intonation, rhythm, all these elements play a crucial role in communication, and when striving for refinement and elegance in conversation, they must all align with our deepest intentions. It's not about constructing complex sentences or using lofty language to create an impression. True mastery lies in the ability to convey complex thoughts in a simple, clear, and compelling manner. The ability to express complex ideas with ease is one of the most striking signs of genuine command of the art of communication. At times, what truly matters is not what we say, but how we manage to convey the most important thing, avoiding unnecessary embellishments. This also implies the ability to listen to and understand the other person before expressing one's own opinion. Our attitude toward others can transform an ordinary conversation into a valuable experience for both parties. It's not about imposing one's ideas, but about creating a space where everyone can share thoughts respectfully and constructively. By mastering communication, one realizes that true refinement lies not in the intricacy of phrases, but in the energy and respect that permeate every word. Those who can establish a deep connection, even through simple expressions, understand that the key to success lies in sincere intention, which is the most genuine and subtle manifestation of the human soul. At times, the simplest words, coming from the heart, leave an indelible impression. The point is not to adorn speech with elaborate turns of phrase, but to clearly and directly express one's essence. Genuine elegance lies not in the complexity of ideas, but in the crystal clarity of their exposition. Refined communication is the ability to share what is innermost while remaining transparent and avoiding pretense and affectation. As soon as we try to appear as someone we are not, our message loses its power. To convey refinement, encyclopedic knowledge is not required. All that is needed is a sincere connection with what we are saying. It's important not only to be aware of the meaning of words, but also to anticipate their impact on others. The power of communication lies in the connection we can establish with other people. As we become more attentive to our words and manner of expression, we begin to notice that every gesture, gaze, and even the silence between words plays a vital role in conveying meaning. Elegance often manifests in moments of silence, when the space between words becomes as significant as the words themselves. Pauses, placed skillfully, add depth to the message, allowing the audience to catch their breath and contemplate what has been said. Each silence is an opportunity for deeper perception, for more intense absorption of information. Every act of communication is a chance to express not only our thoughts, but also our attitude toward the world. How we choose words, how we combine them, and how we transmit them to the world speaks volumes about our inner state. People who exude elegance and refinement achieve this not through impeccable technique, but through genuine interaction with those around them. They are present here and now. They are mindful, which allows them to move in the flow of communication with natural grace. This manifests in their every word, in every gesture, having a much greater impact than simply the content of what is said. True mastery, therefore, lies in the ability to synthesize thought, cut away everything superfluous, and focus on the essential. There is nothing more powerful than the clarity with which a person can convey their point of view. This does not mean simplifying ideas to the point of losing meaning, but rather the ability to transform the complex into the accessible. Clarity, precision, and depth are not mutually exclusive concepts, but characteristics that, when combined, create a form of communication that possesses truly immense power and appeal. When our statements possess crystal clarity and impeccable accuracy, it significantly eases the process of mutual understanding, allowing others to delve deeper into the essence of our words, grasp our true intentions, and, as a result, respond appropriately. Sophistication in communication is not only evident in the content of the information conveyed, but also in how we position ourselves in relation to the other person. The manner of behavior we exhibit during communication plays a crucial role in ensuring our intentions are perceived in the most favorable light. Our posture, gaze, body language, all these elements collectively shape the overall impression of our words. Someone who has mastered the art of graceful communication expresses themselves not only through speech, but also through their demeanor. Every gesture, every movement, every glance contributes to the overall message we send out into the world. Thus, personal presence becomes an integral aspect of elegance in communication. Each time we express our thoughts and feelings, we are presented with an opportunity not only to be heard, but also to have a certain impact on those around us. Words possess tremendous power. They can heal emotional wounds, build bridges of understanding, offer solace, and share wisdom. However, for words to truly achieve their purpose, they must be part of a broader context that reflects our innermost intentions. Elegance is not merely an outward manifestation, not just the ability to choose beautiful words, but also how we feel when expressing ourselves. Our manner of communicating with others directly influences how they perceive us. Every time we utter a word, we send a message into the world that extends beyond the literal content. Words are conductors of our inner energy, our deep vibration. It does not matter how complex and intricate our language is. In any conversation, one primarily senses the intention underlying each spoken word. When we express ourselves sincerely, from the heart, we are not simply exchanging ideas. We are sharing a part of our soul, that which makes us unique individuals. This genuine connection with the other person is what constitutes true elegance, which needs no additional embellishments to be appreciated. The beauty of sophisticated communication lies in its ability to penetrate to the very core, going beyond the superficial. There is no need to resort to complex and convoluted words to be effective. At times, the simplest phrases have the greatest impact because they reflect clarity of mind and emotional maturity, which cannot be overlooked. Clarity is a virtue that lies not in the number of words used, but in the ability to clearly and concisely articulate the essence of the matter, avoiding unnecessary verbosity. In this sense, sophisticated communication is, above all, the ability to get straight to the point, to know what and when to say, without resorting to repetitions and superfluous details. Every word that escapes our lips should be an unwavering mirror of our true intentions, crystal clear and direct, like a ray of sunlight. For there is a certain elusive magic surrounding those who possess the art of conveying their thoughts with exquisite grace. This grace is not merely a play on words, but also a dance of their delivery, a melody of the rhythm with which they succeed one another, and the delicate silence of pauses that arise between them. Consider how a carefully constructed phrase can blossom in the listener's mind, or how a strategic pause allows an idea to take root, providing time for reflection. For silence, like a skilled artist, can lend weight and depth to our words. In this context, refined communication is not only an act of speaking, but also the art of listening, of sensing the moment when it is necessary to give way to silence, allowing the other to fully grasp what we are sharing. One of the cornerstones of graceful communication is an awareness of the emotions that arise during interaction. Emotions are not merely a backdrop, but an integral part of our message, as we share not only information, but also feelings, attitudes, and a view of the world. And how we manage this emotional flow directly affects the power and impact of our words. Inner peace, composure, and the ability to maintain emotional balance are the qualities that distinguish a person who speaks with true elegance. Instead of succumbing to impulsive reactions or overwhelming emotions of the moment, a refined person finds the strength to respond from a place of calm and reflection, as if drawing wisdom from an inexhaustible source. Emotional control is at the heart of effective, respectful, and empathetic communication. Our perception by others is also shaped by how we interact with personal space. Posture, body language, and eye contact, all these elements play a vital role in how our message is perceived. A person who possesses grace in communication understands the immense power of non-verbal cues. How we present ourselves, how we move, and how we express ourselves all influence how others see us. For example, a straight posture, attentive gaze, and friendly gesture can be as expressive as carefully chosen words. Recognizing how our posture reflects inner confidence, we can ensure that our body language aligns with the message we are conveying. Refined communication is not just about what we say, but how we say it, how we present ourselves, and how we behave. Respect is a key component of elegant communication. Every word spoken should be imbued with respect for the other person. It is important to address everyone from a position of equality and empathy, acknowledging their human dignity, feelings, and point of view. Politeness and goodwill are not just formal displays, but a way to honor another person, to show that we value their presence and thoughts. In this way, we create an atmosphere of mutual respect, opening up space for natural communications without barriers or prejudices. Elegance in communication is not aloofness or unapproachability, but sincerity, respectful attitude towards the interlocutor, and the ability to listen with an open heart. Another important feature of refined communication is creating an atmosphere of trust in which the other person feels comfortable and willing to share their thoughts. It is necessary to create a space where sincerity and openness become possible. This atmosphere is built on authenticity, mutual respect, and a willingness to understand the other person without judgment. A person communicating with elegance realizes that words are just a tool for establishing a deeper connection. Genuine communication occurs when both parties are willing to open up, share not only ideas, but also emotions and their vision of the world. As our ability to communicate develops, when we examine the art of communication more closely, we discover that it transcends mere technical skill or verbal eloquence. It is an inner journey that requires self-awareness, self-confidence, and a deep connection with others. True elegance in communication manifests itself in serenity, in the ability to listen attentively without interrupting, in responding with empathy and respect, and in the wisdom to choose our words carefully. Throughout this process, we learn to manage our emotions, recognize those of others, and foster an environment of openness and mutual respect. Each interaction becomes a unique opportunity to reveal our essence, not only through our ideas, but also through our emotions and energy. The way we connect with others through words has a much greater impact than we often recognize. It is not just about the surface of what we say, but about what underlies the words, what we are really trying to convey. This background, that inner impulse that motivates our communication, is what really gives life to the message. When we are aware of this deeper aspect, our interactions become more authentic, more enriching, and ultimately more meaningful. For many, elegance in expression is associated with polished and precise speech, a perfection in the choice of words. However, the essence of a refined conversation goes beyond technical perfection. What distinguishes those who achieve authentic and deep communication is their ability to connect, to make the other person feel understood and valued. Words are just the medium, but what really matters is the quality of the connection we are able to create through them. True elegance, therefore, lies less in the content of our words and more in the sincerity with which we reveal ourselves to others. Instead of adhering to a strict set of linguistic rules, the crux of the matter is to be authentic and communicate that inner essence in a transparent and genuine way. Obviously, there are technical aspects that deserve attention: the tone, the rhythm, the fluency of our speech. All these elements form a communicative symphony that seeks harmony between our words and their reception. Each conversation has its own rhythm, a specific time to unfold, and the ability to discern this rhythm is invaluable. It is not simply about filling the space with words, but about selecting the precise moments for our voice to rise and be heard clearly. It is not about speaking for the sake of speaking, but about creating pauses when necessary, about giving weight to each word, about transmitting with force without saturating the conversation with an excess of content. This not only makes understanding easier, but also encourages a deeper and more natural connection. Authentic connection is based on empathy, the ability to perceive the emotions of others and respond appropriately. When we strive to understand each other, to put ourselves in their place, our way of expressing ourselves is transformed. We become more attentive and considerate of our words, aware that each individual carries a story and an experience that can influence the reception of the message. Empathy becomes the bridge that unites us with others, and this connection, this emotional harmony, is what makes any interaction valuable. Words are transformed into vehicles of understanding and mutual support, rather than being mere tools to impose our ideas. When we communicate from a position of empathy, our ability to convey our thoughts increases as we become more receptive to the emotional needs of those around us. By developing this ability to empathize with others, we also deepen self-knowledge. We learn to recognize our own emotions and manage them effectively, which allows us to react more calmly and wisely. Self-understanding becomes the foundation of more perfect communication, as it allows us to be aware of our own reactions and emotions, and not allow them to dominate how we express ourselves. The ability to reflect, the ability to take time to reflect on what we feel before uttering any word, helps us to be clearer, more accurate, and more effective in our interactions. True elegance lies not in suppressing emotions, but in managing them in such a way that they do not interfere with our ability to communicate effectively. Every moment of interaction provides an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and about others. Through our conversations, we can discover new ways of thinking, new perspectives, and new ways to connect with those around us. Communication is a dynamic, constantly evolving process that requires our full attention, our ability to be present and aware. As we become more attentive to how we express ourselves and how others respond to our message, we become more skilled at adjusting our approach, at adapting our manner of communication to the needs and circumstances of each situation. In this sense, refined communication is also deeply connected with respect for the diversity of thoughts, opinions, and experiences. It is not about striving for uniformity, but about celebrating the richness of differences. Being able to see the beauty in the diversity of points of view, we become more open, more willing to listen and learn from others. In today's world, where borders are blurring and interconnections are becoming increasingly close, the ability to find common ground with people of different cultures and perspectives is particularly valuable. This art not only enriches our own worldview, but also builds bridges of understanding between representatives of different traditions and ways of life. The true beauty of communication lies in our ability to value and respect each person, regardless of their words and actions. Authenticity becomes the cornerstone of exquisite communication. When we present ourselves to others as we are, without trying to be someone else, our self-expression gains strength and sincerity. People feel this authenticity, and it creates a deep and meaningful connection. We do not need tricks and techniques to be convincing. It is enough to be ourselves, and then our words will gain weight and meaning. Grace in communication is not about following strict rules, but about finding our own voice, which will be true to our truth and respect the truth of another person. By improving communication skills, we gain self-confidence. This confidence is born not from the perfection of speech, but from the awareness of the value of what we say, from the understanding that our words have a purpose and deserve to be heard. Confidence is a powerful energy that is transmitted to others. When we are unwavering in what we say, our personality becomes more attractive and has more influence on others. People tend to react positively to confidence because they are comfortable around someone who is in harmony with themselves and their message. Insecurity, on the other hand, can create an invisible barrier making sincere connection difficult. When we communicate sincerely, we seem to strive for genuine mutual understanding. The power of our words lies in their authenticity. Although everyone can express ideas, few are able to do so in a way that touches the hearts of others. Such a connection depends not on what is said, but on how it is said. The words of a person who has worked on their self-knowledge and has a deep understanding of themselves resonate with listeners. It is as if the energy of truth is projected through their words, making the other feel seen, understood, and respected. In this is the true essence of exquisite communication. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that sophisticated speech requires a high level of erudition or a complex vocabulary. However, true sophistication lies not in complicated words, but in the ability to convey what is truly important. Sometimes the deepest ideas are expressed simply and clearly, without the need to get bogged down in unnecessary details. There is elegance in simplicity, because the essence does not always need embellishments. In today's world, overflowing with information and chaos, the ability to speak to the point becomes an invaluable asset. It is important not to overwhelm those around you with your knowledge, but to convey key ideas as clearly and directly as possible. This simplicity is closely intertwined with patience. Sometimes the urge to speak pushes us to rush, to want to fill the air with words as quickly as possible. However, the most effective communication is built not on speed, but on quality. Patience allows us to carefully choose our words and utter them at the right moment, when they can truly be heard and understood. The time spent reflecting before speaking, considering the best way to express a thought, makes our communication much more meaningful. Haste only breeds confusion, while a measured pause, silence between words, creates space for assimilation and effective reception of the message. The manner of our self-expression is closely linked to our attitude towards life. People who are in harmony with their inner selves communicate elegantly with ease. Elegance manifests not only in words, but also in a sense of self. The way we value and respect ourselves is conveyed through everything we say and do. When we are connected to our authenticity, we do not need to seek approval from the outside, because we already know that what we share has value. True self-confidence gives us the ability to express our thoughts and feelings powerfully, but also respectfully. Respect for others begins with respect for oneself, and this is reflected in how we communicate. Sophistication lies not in playing the role of a refined person, but in recognizing one's inner strength as an individual and knowing how to use it to build authentic and meaningful relationships. At the same time, refined communication implies generosity of spirit. It is not just about expressing one's own ideas, but about creating space where another person can also share their thoughts. This is manifested in active listening, in the ability to give the other person time and opportunity to speak, without interrupting or rushing to make judgments. Conversation is not a competition to measure who says more or who has the better idea, but an exchange of thoughts and feelings that enriches both parties. Generosity of spirit in communication is expressed in a willingness to understand, accept differences, and create space for openness to the other. At times, the most elegant act we can perform is simply listening attentively and without prejudice. It is important to understand that communication is not always verbal. Often, the strongest message we convey is not what we say, but what we do not say. Body language, facial expressions, movements, and gaze can say much more than words. A sincere smile, a sympathetic look, an open posture can convey a great deal of information without a single word being spoken. Refined communication, aware of its subtlety, stems from the understanding that every gesture, look, or silence holds a purpose. This non-verbal communication wields immense power, capable of touching the most sensitive fibers of the human being, transcending the limitations of spoken language. The connection that is forged through authentic gestures and a genuine essence stands as one of the most profound and powerful forms of mutual understanding. It is essential to understand that elegance in communication does not imply avoiding confrontation or dissent. True elegance manifests in the ability to address complex issues with respect, avoiding aggression and disqualification. The ability to disagree without losing composure, to defend one's convictions without attacking the interlocutor, is a hallmark of refined communication. Confrontation, far from being a destructive act, can be transformed into an opportunity for growth and mutual understanding when managed with respect and consideration. The way we approach conflict, the way we respond to difference, reveals our emotional maturity and our ability to communicate effectively. Elegance, in this context, lies in the ability to maintain serenity and respect, even when emotions surface. In the quest to perfect our expression, it is crucial to remember that communication is a continuous learning process. It is not about achieving an unattainable perfection, but about cultivating the willingness to grow, adapt, and learn from each interaction. Each conversation, every encounter, presents an opportunity to refine our ability to communicate authentically and effectively. By becoming aware of how we express ourselves, we discover the immense power that resides in our words, a power that we must use responsibly, since our expressions have the potential to deeply influence others. Refined communication is not an instantaneous achievement, but rather the result of a constant commitment to ourselves and to those around us.